Hi there, everybody. Okay, so our first sample problem in the notes. A cue ball on a pool table travels 2 meters towards the 8 ball. If it takes 1 second from the cue ball to reach the 8 ball, how fast is it moving in meters per second? So the first thing we need to identify as we go through here are the points of data that we have, right? Step one, we need to figure out what we know. So the first thing that we should identify that we know on here is that we have a cue ball that's traveling 2 meters. Meters is a measure of distance, and so we have a measure of distance. Okay, so what do we know? Step one, the ball travels 2 meters, right? This is a distance. The second thing we notice is if it takes 1 second for the cue ball to travel, for the cue ball to reach the 8 ball, right? That is a measurement of time, 1 second. And so, what do we know? We know the distance, and we also know the time, right? The time being 1 second. And so, what do we want to find out? Remember? So now we're going to figure out. This is where we put the question mark down. So at the very end of the sentence, it says, how fast is the ball moving in meters per second? Right? This is asking for a velocity. It was talking about a direction. It's traveling from towards the cue ball. Or sorry, from the cue ball is moving towards the 8 ball on the table. Remember that velocity and speed, as at least for this course, are the same equation. The only difference is that velocity has a direction. And so, anyway, this is where we know these are the three, these are how to write it out. Okay, so what you would do on your paper, you would write out your distance is 2 meters, your time is 1 second, and your velocity is the question mark, the thing you're trying to figure out. So that's the first step. That's the first part of doing the equation. Okay, and so next we need to write the correct formula or find out what it is. And so if we're trying to find velocity, you put your finger over the v, and it is d over t. And so our equation that we're going to use is going to be uh, velocity over is equal to distance over time, or v is equal to d over t. Okay. At this point, now that we have all of our information, and we know what formula we're going to use, we need to substitute the known values. And so we have our known values. 2 meters is our distance. 1 second is our time. And so we're going to plug them in. And so we put 2, we have v is equal to d over t. So, or in other words, 2 divided by 1. 2 divided by 1, of course, is 2. Now, so it is the ball traveled at 2 meters per second toward the 8 ball. And so we make our calculation, we solve the problem. Step 5, the ball was traveling at 2 meters per second towards the 8 ball.